Hello and welcome to the news at 5. I'm Olumide Macaulay. We start off with security matters. Nigeria is hosting top military leaders across the continent as chiefs of defense staff from various African countries are in the nation's capital, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, for a peer review of issues concerning terrorism and how to improve the monitoring of crude oil pipelines in the continent. In his remarks, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, urged participants to invest in modern technology like AI to defeat terrorist groups, including Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, ISWAP, and Al-Shabaab, that have been wreaking havoc in parts of the continent.
Your presence here is a powerful testament to our shared commitment to a more peaceful and secure Africa. Distinguished Chiefs of Defense Staff, ladies and gentlemen, today we gather at a critical juncture in our continent's history. Africa stands on the edge of unprecedented opportunity, driven by a vibrant youth population, vast resources, and a spirit of innovation. Yet, this promise is challenged by a complex and evolving spectrum of security threats. From the scourge of violent extremism and terrorism to the menace of transnational organized crime, piracy, and the insidious impacts of climate change on conflict, these challenges recognize no borders. They are hydra-headed, resilient, and demand a response that is equally dynamic, unified, and strategic. The choice of the theme of this summit, combating contemporary threats to regional peace and security in Africa, the role of defense collaboration, is both timely and pertinent. It captures the urgent need for a united action in addressing the complex and evolving security challenges confronting our continent. Consequently, this gathering offers us a rare opportunity to forge a unified front. It is a platform to harmonize our doctrines, strengthen interoperability, and build enduring trust among our defense institutions. We must therefore seize this opportunity to craft a new architecture of African-led security cooperation.
In the meantime, the Nigerian army
and the home of Africa's endless possibilities.
On his part, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the event, emphasized the need to deepen cooperation, harmonize doctrine, and build a framework where collective aspirations and objectives are shared extensively amongst Africa's defense institutions. The Vice President insists that Africa cannot be left behind in dealing with protecting its people and assets, and efforts must be made to make good use of advancement in military technology while investing in cyber defense and artificial intelligence.
The heart of Nigeria. This is the moment to reassess our military objectives in the collective aspirations to make Africa safe. It is time to forge a new doctrine of continental defense, one rooted in trust, shared intelligence, and coordinated strategy. Nigeria's promise has always been simple and firm: to be a good neighbor and a brother's keeper in the struggle for peace. Our armed forces have stood shoulder to shoulder with our neighbors and far beyond in peacekeeping missions, counter-terrorism operations, and humanitarian endeavors. We hold no illusion. Security is the foundation upon which the edifice of progress must stand. That is why we must use this summit not merely as a meeting, but as a covenant to deepen cooperation through joint training, harmonized doctrines, and interoperable systems. For this to endure, we must build a framework where our defense institutions speak with one voice and act with one purpose. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the nature of warfare has evolved. The threats of today are asymmetric, digital, and often invisible. Our response must not be less dynamic. We must invest in cyber defense, artificial intelligence, and indigenous military innovation. Africa cannot remain merely a consumer of technology. We must be creators, innovators, and owners of the tools that secure our tomorrow.
In the meantime, the Nigerian army has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling security threats in the southeast and across the nation. The assurance came from the General Officer commanding 82 Division, Major General Olufemi Olachi, who was represented by the Brigadier General Solomon Julius during the closing ceremony of a 6-day inter-brigade combat proficiency competition in Imo State. He stressed that the Army remains prepared and determined to confront and dismantle any threat to Nigeria's peace and integrity, especially in the southeast. According to the organizers, the event is aimed at testing the fitness, agility, teamwork, and combat readiness of troops under the 82 Division in a bid to sharpen operational skills and strengthen capacity.
Over the past 4 years or 4 days or thereabout, we have witnessed officers from various formations under 82 Division compete with determination, skills, and discipline in a variety of challenging events designed to test and sharpen their combat readiness. These competitions have once again underscored the Nigerian Army's commitment to continuous training as a means of maintaining high standards of professionalism. By engaging our majors, captains, and of course lieutenants, both male and female, in rigorous physical, mental, and tactical exercises, we have ensured that our junior leadership cadre remains fit, alert, and prepared for present and future operational demands. I wish to commend all participants for their courage, resilience, and sportsmanship throughout the competition. Whether you stand today as winner or not, you are all achievers. The spirit of healthy rivalry demonstrated here reflects the value of discipline, teamwork, and excellence that define the Nigerian Army.
President Bola Tinubu has commenced his 2-day official visit to Brazil with official welcoming ceremony with full military honors and warmly received by his host, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, at the Planalto Palace. President Tinubu and President Lula da Silva are scheduled to hold a tete-a-tete, followed by expanded bilateral meetings attended by senior officials of both governments. The leaders will also witness the signing of a memoranda of understanding and address a joint press conference afterwards. During the state visit, President Tinubu will meet with the President of the Brazilian Senate at the National Congress, the President of the Chamber of Deputies, and the President of the Supreme Federal Court. The Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, is to lead other ministers, heads of key government agencies, and private sector members to participate in a string of bilateral talks and MOU signings. To politics, the People's Democratic Party's Board of Trustees and its Convention Zoning Committee are currently having separate meetings in Abuja ahead of the party's National Executive Committee meeting that's slated for today. The meeting of the Zoning Committee is holding at the Legacy House, while the BOT members will be at the Wadata Plaza. Both gatherings are expected to arrive at agreed positions that will be presented to the PDP National Executive Council. The Zoning Committee is to present their decisions on the zoning of the party's principal offices, as well as the presidential slot to the NEC for ratification. Meanwhile, the PDP BOT are urging party members to unite and ensure that the planned National Executive Convention holds as scheduled in November.
And I'm sure I came late. Please forgive me. Thank you. Now, having said that,
Governor Basio, too, of Cross River State has restated his administration's commitment to a people-centered government with a special focus on nutrition, preventive health care, and education. Speaking in Calabar, the state capital, while receiving the special assistant to the President on Public Health, Mrs. Uju Rochas Awuka, Governor Otu explains that his government deliberately designed policies to place citizens at the center of development, stressing that education and health remain the foundation for human capital growth.
At the point where you have a formative age, where the cerebral content must be able to be built properly, mature properly, for the type of top delivery that we need today, it became clear that nutrition forms a very important We also look at the fact that preventive health is far more than tackling when actually the elements are setting. We said, well, the best is to build and strengthen our nutrition sector. We met it all in red, but we're determined to change the narrative in a very short time. So we set out our targets and said we have to attain all these targets. By then, we never knew that the federal government also has this noble intention for Nigerians, and that they are also diagnosed and know that there's need to at least have a very strong immune base right from infants to being adults.
On public health, Mrs. Uju Roches Awuka describes malnutrition as a national emergency, noting that Nigeria ranks first in Africa in that case and second globally in child malnutrition. She explained that the Nutrition 774 initiative was designed as a multi-sectoral framework anchored on a 5-phase strategic plan to improve nutritional outcomes across all local government areas.
The best way to measure impact of any government is through the well-being of the ordinary person in any given area. So we say to you, Your Excellency, keep it up. Your Excellency, our objective for this state advocacy visit, as directed by the Vice President of the Federal Republic, is one, to inaugurate the State Council on Nutrition as the highest decision-making body on nutrition in the state. Number two, to hold a town hall meeting with key stakeholders comprising of the State Committee on Food and Nutrition, of course the newly inaugurated State Council on Nutrition, which you will do, Your Excellency, and the local government chairman, high-level traditional leaders and religious leaders, during which the N774 will be officially flagged by Your Excellency as directed in our mandate.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on the Rehabilitation and the Operationalization of the Baro Inland Port has held an overnight session and an on-site inspection of the port in Niger State. The lawmakers say their goal is to unlock the huge economic potential of the facility, which has remained underutilized since its commissioning in 2019.
The Ad Hoc Committee of the House of Representatives arrived at Baro in Niger State for an unusual overnight visit. Led by Chairman Saidu Abdullahi, the lawmakers inspected facilities at the inland port and expressed concerns about challenges slowing down its takeoff. The committee identified the deplorable access road as the biggest obstacle, as a journey of 20 minutes lasted almost 4 hours.
When you talk about the port's equipment, yeah, fine, everything is going on well. The procurement has been done, we've seen the equipment, but on the other aspects of it, especially the access road, which I think the contract has been awarded for close to 10 years now, and we're still having this kind of challenge, this kind of battle, this kind of difficulty in accessing the port. I don't think it's something that we should be happy and comfortable with as a country. If contracts are given, there's something called project management. You expect that from the conception to the end of it, there should be timeline attached to them.
The committee pledges to engage the Federal Ministry of Works and other stakeholders to push for solutions, while officials of the National Inland Waterways Authority welcomed the intervention, noting that funding, road access and dredging remain key obstacles.
The access road is very key. Apart from the access road, our channel always sealed up, so we need to dredge it. That is our home part in Newa. Other things, Federal Ministry of Works, Nigerian Railway, so everything will be connected. So that is what we are working towards. With their assistance and everything we are doing with other stakeholders, I believe this place will become operational and it will be of benefit to Nigerians.
Baro residents are optimistic that the facility will transform their community if revived.
Since the existence of this port, we've expected government to do more than this, because this Baro port has been built thinking we are going to achieve many, but we are still soliciting to the government of this country to please help us finish the project so that the community can as well enjoy it.
With the renewed attention from lawmakers, residents of Baro and indeed Nigerians are hopeful that the port will finally come alive after decades of neglect.
INEC will be deploying 3 machines each to 21 designated registration points for the 2025 in-person continuous voter registration program across Lagos State. The resident electoral commissioner, Professor Ayobami Salami, made this known at the Commission's office, Lagos, where the exercise was flagged. He says, though there were initial hiccups, but that has been surmounted, and therefore asks those concerned to seize the opportunity to register or update their information.
I need to say that this exercise will take place in 3 phases. We are in the first phase now. For the first phase, we have 21 designated locations. These are the 20 local government area offices, as well as our state office here in Yaba. And for each local government area as at now, we have deployed at least minimum of 3 machines per local government. Where we have large population like Adimasho, we deploy at least 4. So we have adequate personnel and material and machines to cope with the exercise for this current phase. The duration is from now, let me say it started from August 18th and it's going to end by the end of August 2026. There were some initial delays which have been resolved and the exercise has taken off successfully. As you can see, people are registering at the background here and without any complaint.
Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's 11 electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, collectively raked in 1.101 trillion naira in revenue from customers in the first half of 2025, and that's according to an analysis from their monthly fact sheet. The figure shows a steady rise in collections compared to the same period last year, underscoring ongoing improvement in metering, billing efficiency, and enforcement of payment compliance. Analysis showed that ECO electricity distribution made the highest revenue of 207.14 billion naira from 244.08 billion it billed its customers. This is followed by Ikeja Electric with 193.46 billion naira from the 256.74 billion naira it billed its customers, and the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, with 176.81 billion naira from the 225.92 billion naira it billed its customers. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has called for greater accountability and transparency as critical measures to strengthen investor confidence in Nigeria's capital market. Speaking at a stakeholder forum on internal control and financial reporting in Abuja, SEC Director General Dr. Emomotimi Agama says strong disclosure practices and robust internal systems are essential to restoring trust and attracting local and foreign investors. Agama reaffirmed the SEC's zero-tolerance stance against fraud and insider trading, pledging that the regulator will intensify risk-based supervision to safeguard investors and ensure a more transparent, fair, and efficient market. Meanwhile, 1 year after the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Central Bank of Nigeria began implementing a new regulatory framework for the cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, a leading crypto exchange executive says the move has brought much-needed clarity to the market. According to Mr. Olaoluwa Samuel B., co-founder Busher, he believes this regulatory certainty is now attracting a new wave of foreign investment into Nigeria's thriving digital economy.
The foreign players are still in the market. They're still sort of, doing whatever they feel like doing. But I think over time that is going to start to change as well, where the regulators are going to begin to clamp down on value moving out of the country and ensuring that value stays within. when the capital comes in, we're going to hire more people locally, invest in local talent when it comes to blockchain-specific talent. And the way the banking sector evolved from 2 decades ago, where we now have a very robust banking system, is the way this would also evolve going forward. But also, all of those things require lots of localization of capital, of talent, of regulations, and all of those things as well. But I think that's happening. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of enforcement and a lot of regulatory rules written specifically to ensure localization coming on stream as well. We're seeing some of that happening already. There needs to be some sort of unification of rules. The foreign guys need to really adhere to the rules, same rules that the local players are adhering to as well. And the local players are adhering to very rigorous rules, many of which most of the foreign players would not be happy to fall under. So as long as the rules are rigorous enough for the local players, there's a level playing field for any foreign player to also walk in, as long as they're happy to adhere to those same rules as well. So there will be no preferential treatment for both parties. I don't think there's any need for any regulatory preferential treatment here. As long as you offer better service, you have more rigor, and you're able to build the trust from the user base. I think you compete effectively against the foreign players as well, and that's what we're trying to do.
Meanwhile, on our Business Morning show earlier today, Group CEO of DLM Capital Group, Dr. Sonia Yere, shared insights on Nigeria's evolving asset management landscape and the ongoing wave of capital raises across the financial sector. Speaking on the state of the industry, Dr. Yere stressed the importance of asset managers channeling more funds into the banking and insurance sectors, noting that these institutions are critical to sustaining market stability and deepening investor confidence as recapitalization gathers pace.
We're talking about the banking capitalization now. Right. I mean, look, I think it's been very positive for the banks. You've seen share prices of banks actually leapfrog. I just saw this morning now that Premium has reached the 200 billion mark, which is the minimum for a national bank. The Zenith was, I think, the first to cross. And I think what I see is investors feeling confident. The only competition right now, of course, is the insurance industry, which recently also came up with two things. They came up with new rules, which obviously strengthens the insurance industry. But more importantly, now the regulator has also increased the capital. So again, investors are looking at how to allocate capital also into the insurance industry, which generally speaking is always that long-term capital. So if you look at the insurance industry, say for instance in the States and in other climes, that's where you find the longest capital that exists. So it's a very competitive landscape. One of the problems with insurance is really, well, we don't have an insurance industry, but it's really compliance, and enforcement. Because for instance, if you create a law that says my car must be insured, how is it going to be enforced? Okay, if it's enforced, it's fantastic because it means there's a monthly cash collection that goes into the insurance industry on a regular basis, and so on and so forth. Those are the kind of decisions I'll be looking at to ensure that, okay, well, how do I see the long-term industry for insurance vis-a-vis the banking industry?
And that's it on the News at 5. Thank you for watching. I'm Olumide Macaulay.